stay here in Shanghai is really memorable. So thank you. Our King say thank you. So yeah. Another thing is we're going to talk about some of the speakers that we're going to have lined up for you. There's Adrian. Adrian? Well, so you're going to see a real demo of how this technology, so we'll put together like a 10-minute demo where you can actually see from start to finish how to program blockchain. So second, we have another speaker coming from Korea, Ash, come on. So Ash is going to give you guys a little bit overview of blockchain Cosmos actually, which is, as Tom mentioned, it's really a no-one-owned Cosmos, and it's one of the interesting ideas in the blockchain space, and it's actually owned by all of us. And so Ash is going to go through that in a presentation after this. So let's. I'm actually working with a company called Tendermint, and Tendermint built Cosmos. So we're a group of passionate blockchain developers. We barely have any marketing people. We're mostly developers, and we want to share sort of our technology behind Cosmos, which is Tendermint. So, okay, so there's a few things that we do. We're basically a protocol company. There's two things that we're trying to advance the research and development of blockchain. One is called consensus, and we're going to talk about that quite a bit after this, how important that is. I think it's one of the most underrated technology, but it is the most important ones in our opinion. The second one, that's why it's kind of highlighted. Oh, let's go back to the second one right there. The second one is interoperability, which is a way of saying, once you have all this blockchain created, like how are you going to make that connected and interoperate with each other? So those two are the areas that really wanted to push forward. So let's go ahead to the next one. Oh, sorry. Yeah, next one. So what is a consensus engine? I put some Chinese translation there. So I want to have a quick show of hand. How many people heard of proof of work? Proof of work. Okay, 1, 2. Don't be shy, keep going. All right. Okay, quite a bit. Okay, that's good. That's good. How many heard of proof of stakes? Okay, same people. Okay, all right, good, good. So consensus engine is actually very important. And the way to look at this, the way to kind of think about this in general, let's go to the next slide. There you go. That is what consensus engine is, right? It is the very thing that secure blockchain. People forget sometimes with all the different ICOs going on, different crazy ideas about ICO, people don't realize like the most basic function of blockchain is to secure the transaction in blockchain. So the proof of work that some of you guys understand are the consensus engine for Bitcoin. But the thing is, the innovation does not, to improve this consensus engine, which is the vault, should be improved by the whole industry. So let's go to the next one. And there's a concept of Byzantine Fault Tolerant. There's a translation there again. And, or we call it Chinese general problem because we're in China. But it is basically a very old problem that we have. So let's go to the next one, what that is, right? So this is back in the old days, that's what I call Byzantine, right? It's like, these are the war between two kings, right? And then the city is surrounded by all these generals, right? And for them to be able to launch a successful attack, they have to do it at the same time, right? But how do you actually attack at the same time. Back in the days, there's no internet, there's no text messaging, right? So they have to send out a messenger to inform, like, okay, we're gonna attack at the same time tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. The problem is, the issue is that somebody can intercept the messenger, somebody can be a traitor, right? So you have all this different information. So let's go ahead to the next one. So these are the Chinese general problem, because you don't know how to coordinate an attack at the same time by relying on just messenger. So, for example, in this case, the first case is like, well, the one in orange is like, well, that Luton is the traitor, right? So when the commanders say attack, they say, well, no, don't attack now. This is actually, we've got to withdraw, right? So then, and the goat one is going to say here is like, well, we're going to attack, but, you know, he knows like how that everybody's going to go at the same time, right? Because, again, there's a traitor. So the second one is the commander, in this case, the top one, that's actually sort of the traitor. And again, nobody's going to reach a consensus, again, that's the word, it's like at the same time, like how we're going to launch this to be successful, right? So that's the problem of the Chinese generals. So let's go to the second one. So, as you can see here, right, there is no solution to actually how to enforce, how to agree with, how to attack at the same time. That's why it's called Chinese general problem. There's no solution to that. But with Bitcoin, they actually come up with a very interesting way, which is called proof of work. You know, and so you guys would already know about proof of work. This is nothing new to you guys. You know, it's pretty complicated stuff to understand, and so congratulations, you know, to understand the problem. So again, let's go to the next one. So we at Tendermint, we're trying to push the new concept called proof of stakes, which in our opinion will be sort of the new consensus engine of future blockchains. It's actually already happening. So if you look at EOS, right? EOS, Wave, almost every of the new blockchain that's created now is using some sort of the proof of stakes model. And there's a lot of benefit behind it, and that's part of the reason why some of those newer blockchains are adopting it. But we're really passionate about pushing this proof of stakes, and we believe that Tendermint and Cosmos has the best proof of stakes. That's formally verifiable by our technology. So I'll let you guys kind of look at this picture a little bit, and just look at it a little bit. And that's on the left side is proof of work, which is what Bitcoin has in Ethereum, right? And the proof of stakes is this sort of like an interesting take on solving that consensus, right? Has to do with a very simple, there's very few slides that we're going to put up together after this is going to really highlight it and make it very super simple to understand, so the new concept, right? Let's go to the next one. So in the older system, which is Bitcoin and Ethereum, one CPU is one vote. That's very simple, right? That means if you have a million CPU, you have a million votes, right? That's the problem. It could have a problem because if you have a million, then you can affect the outcome of the voting, right? And what's worse is the incentive is actually based on the CPU as well. That's why you see accumulations of ASIC miners in China, is because this, again, they got an unfair advantage. The fact that utilities is quite cheap in China, right? They built it in the mountain because, again, it's also a cheap way to cool the system. So, the new proof of stakes though is slightly different, and this is the new way, which is one coin, one vote. And so, right. So It is very simple. One CPU, one vote. The new one would be one coin, one vote. All right, next one. So in this new world of proof of stakes, there is no miners. We call it validators because it's technically very simple to come to consensus fairly quickly because it doesn't require a lot of computation engine. It doesn't require a lot of CPU to actually agree to secure the system. So anyway, that's really my talk, and after this we're going to have a lot of introduction about Cosmos, so I'm going to hand it over to Ash. All right, Ash?